Paso. This is Isaac Olmos with the Olmos Real Estate Group, powered by Maury. I'd like to welcome you and thank you for watching. By now, I'm sure that you've noticed that all of El Paso is in a full-on meltdown mode over EBCAD's inflated residential values. I'd like to explain why El Paso City Council's approach is having a negative impact on the native El Pasoan and why their actions are detrimental to the community that we live in. Now, this is going to be a two-part series, so please watch next week to get a better grasp on its entirety. One thing that the National Association of Realtors does very well is they meticulously track vital statistics and publish those findings for members like me to view. I pay very close attention to those metrics, but it goes without saying that some of the things I find are pretty obvious, such as the two most vital industries in the borderland. And that's going to be the military-industrial complex that includes outsourced and contracted civilian operations, but it also includes the manufacturing and logistics sector. El Paso has a really good strategic advantage geographically due to the prime location as an international port of entry. Now, El Paso can do a lot better job in the genre of nurturing these two local industries. I want to highlight that before we really get into it, that the national average for an effective property tax rate is 1.03%. El Paso nearly triples that at 3.12 if you live in EPISD's jurisdiction, which is El Paso's largest school district. El Paso's tax rate is not only among the highest in Texas, but it's one of the highest in the nation, rubbing shoulders with larger cities like San Francisco and New York. Now, it's obvious that the city's frivolous spending on community improvement projects with the goal of generating income has come up short time and time again. The Chihuahua Stadium, for example, the downtown trolleys, the habitual non-vetting of contracted third-party vendors and getting scammed, not following through with implementation of toll lanes, and many other failures has our community question whether or not these are sound investments. Okay, maybe not questioning because the answers are obvious. I was trying to be optimistic. City Council's aspirations of mimicking larger city amenities come at the cost of hometown residents like you and myself. I'd like to take just a moment and I'd like you to really think about which demographics these improvements were really intended for and who they are actually enriching. Was it their constituents? Many of the improvements were implemented in an effort to attract non-natives and tourists to the borderland to generate more taxable income on the native El Pasoans' dime. Now, don't get me wrong, I really believe in quality of life products like community centers, libraries, running trails, the new water parks, and some much needed infrastructure has benefited the El Paso community to an extent, but the larger, higher price tag items have been epic in failure and unquantifiably miscalculated in terms of the revenue streams that they create. Now, this leads me to my second point, where I point out that the city's administration has dug you and I into a hole of debt, and they devastatingly miscalculated return on investment revenue streams. Now, we're left with the conundrum of, where do I get the money? Oh, look, we have taxpayers who can pay for it. Okay, it's not funny. Bottom line is, our wallets are paying for their mistakes, hence the annual tax increase the city follows religiously. The exception in this year where City Council sought to decrease taxes, which I have an inclination to believe it's only because of backlash due to the exuberant value said taxes are being calculated against. Meaning City is still going to collect more taxes than last year, so they're satisfied for now. I'd like to remind you that there are three things that you can count on in life. That's change, death, and El Paso City Council's annual property tax increase. Now, until we can reel in that spending and bring in more business by focusing on the city's strengths, instead of trying to turn our city into something that it's not, then the problem isn't going away. Now, there are two ways that the city can make more money. That's by not spending it or by making more. Unfortunately for us, they're taking the latter approach. Now, please guys, make sure that you tune in next week where I'm going to explain why home values have been inflated and what you can do about it. I'll also be talking about a new piece of legislation that was introduced locally that's going to increase the impact of the homestead exemption, meaning that the taxable value of your home is going to be reduced, and how you can help turn that legislation into a reality. Now, if you're going to walk away with one thing today, please pay attention to what I'm about to say. You have until May 16th, okay? May 16th to contest your residential value with EBCAD, the El Paso Central Appraisal District. They're located at 5801 Trowbridge, right past Bassett if you're heading west. Hearings are going to begin on April 11th, so you have between now and that time to prepare. If you need any help doing that, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email or call me. My phone number is 915-525-7556. I'm always available to help. Now also, if you think this video will help anybody that you know, feel free to share with them, like and subscribe. Well, El Paso, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for watching. I want you to have a great one, and I'll see you next week.